Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 164. In this episode, I'm going to share why Meagan Norris is so badass. If you missed the last episode, Meagan is a certified mindset coach for moms. She helps moms manage their stress so they can feel better and pursue their goals with ease. And her mission is to empower moms to create massive transformation in their life. If you missed the last episode, definitely go back, give it a listen, and then, of course, listen to this one. Or if you're short on time and just want to get to the nitty gritty, see why Meagan Norris is so badass, and then go back and listen, you do you. Pick whatever works for you. But I know that you're going to love it. There's so many great takeaways. With that, let's get to the episode already. Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I'm so glad you're here. Today, you're going to hear 3 reasons why Meagan Norris is so badass. So let me just give you a quick rundown of the 3 reasons, and then we'll get into it in detail. The first reason why Meagan Norris is so badass is because she gives herself permission to change. That's huge. So often we get stuck in a rut. We feel like we have to be the same person, do the same things. If you're pursuing a goal and then you realize, oh wait, I don't like this. This isn't fun. This isn't me. Instead of just staying in it so that you're not going to be embarrassed or feel like you gave up and other people won't say something to you about it. If you've changed, if it's not you, give it up. Get rid of it. It took courage for Meagan to change. Meagan was an attorney. She had a corporate career, right? But she made the change to go into being a life coach. She didn't have to do that. She could have been stuck in her, being terrified in her own head and not made a change, even though she wanted to be with her kids. Her gut said, no, I want to be home with my family. I want to be home with my kids. She didn't want both her and her husband to have busy, stressful jobs. So she gave herself permission to change. And another thing I liked is how Meagan talked about, would you choose what you already have? Would you do it over again? And so if you would, keep it. If you don't, then feel free to make a change. If it no longer serves you in your life, if it no longer brings you joy, if it no longer helps you, then make a change. Do something different. Where in your life are you not giving yourself permission to change? Where are you staying stuck in your old ways? Maybe it's because of your family or your friends, and it's what they want for you. So you think it's what you should want for you, or it's what you should do. But is that true? Just because your parents want something for you, or your spouse wants something for you, or a friend wants something for you, does that mean you have to want it for yourself? I think everybody has something that they want to change, and especially now that we're getting close to the new year, right? We're a month and a half away, not even that, from the new year. So this is when people start to think about change. So maybe that's when you start to think about it. But then to give yourself permission to tell yourself, yeah, that's okay. I'm going to make a change. I'm going to make a pivot. I'm going to do this for me. There is nothing wrong with doing something for you. If you're a parent, it can be easy to shove your own needs aside, but heck, that's when it's the most important, right? Is you are a leader. I don't care if you're a parent or not, you're a leader in some way or another. People look up to you. Somebody looks up to you. And so what you do matters. Do you want the people watching you to see you not making changes, to not going after your dreams because you're scared or you feel fear? We all feel fear. It's the human condition, right? And so part of it is pushing past that fear and being willing to make a change. And maybe when you make one change, it makes it easier to make another change, and then another change, and another change. But you just have to take the first step. You don't have to know the whole path along the way. You just have to take the first step. So I really loved how Meagan gave herself permission to change and then didn't feel bad about it, right? Didn't beat herself up about it. Matter of fact, she sounds happy as heck because she gave herself permission to change. All right. The second reason why Meagan Norris is so badass is because she makes strong decisions. I really liked how she talked about strong decisions, and she said too often we have indecision fatigue. We get wrapped up in indecision, and it can be so hard to break that, to become decisive. But sometimes it's actually harder to not make a decision than if you just make a decision. Because the whole time you're being indecisive and not making a decision, then it's just prolonging your suffering, prolonging your misery, right? So you're like, I don't know, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? Like you're just going back and forth, torturing yourself over something that you don't need to be tortured over. But part of that is a choice. And oftentimes we do this thinking that we're serving somebody else, that we're doing somebody else a favor by playing small or being quiet, or you're like, oh, well, I love my spouse, so I'll let him pick dinner. I don't want to pick something he doesn't want. It is bigger than that. It is about you using your voice. It is about you speaking up, speaking your truth. Jack Canfield says to act as if. Act as if you did have an opinion. Act as if it mattered to you, right? If it's one or the other, just pick one. Go with it. Typically, you're making the best decision with the information you have at the time. And then you can be over it and move on and get over the stress and misery that you're creating for yourself by being indecisive. So make strong decisions. Pick one, anyone. It doesn't matter. Really. For most situations, it doesn't matter if you just make a decision and run with it, right? But then what happens is each and every time that you make a strong decision, then guess what? You get a little bit more confidence, each and every time. You get a little swag in your step because you made a decision, even if it was something as simple as where to go to eat. So that's the thing. Next time you go out to eat with somebody, pick the place. Say, hey, how about here? Now, I am not picking on you if you don't make strong decisions, if you're stuck in indecision, because I promise you that was me for so long, so I can absolutely relate. But man, life gets a little bit easier when you just make a decision, when you're not available for your own suffering, and you're just like, okay, I'm just going to make a choice. So start with the small things. Like I said, start with a meal. You choose what you're going to eat for a meal, right? Or if you're going out to eat, where you're going to go to, what restaurant. Make the small decisions and it will have an epic impact. It'll help you make the big decisions when it comes time. But it starts with the small decisions. You heard Meagan during the interview, right? She was very confident, very knowledgeable. But guess what? This didn't happen overnight. She probably didn't start making strong decisions overnight. She was talking about how when she was an attorney, she was just like stressed and overwhelmed, and she knew it was going to start affecting her health. And so at that time, maybe she wasn't making strong decisions. Maybe she was stuck in indecision until she made the leap to become a life coach and to stay home with her children, right? But then it's like a domino effect. You knock over one domino and then the next and then the next. And so that's what she did. That's why you have the confident woman in front of you that you have now, because she made strong decisions. And maybe she went from indecision to strong decision. I can't say that for sure, but along the way, you're bound to get more and more traction to become more and more confident. Where in your life are you avoiding making decisions? Where do you default to your loved ones, to other people in your life to make decisions for you? What's one small way that you can make a decision today? If not today, tomorrow. Just think of the smallest way that you can make a decision, or a question that's so often asked you, but you default and say, I don't know, ask your dad. Be committed that next time you come up with the answer, right? I don't know, ask your mom. No, you got the answers in you. You provide the answer next time. And watch how your confidence grows. All right. The third reason why Meagan Norris is so badass is because she doesn't fix her guilt. So often, like, mom guilt is the thing, mom guilt is real, and the immediate thing is, how do we solve that problem? How do we overcome that guilt? How do we fix it? How do we make it better? And I might have even asked a question like that, right? And she's like, oh, no. I don't fix mom guilt. It's not something to fix. And she said, guilt is always going to be offered on the buffet of things your brain can cook up. So Meagan recommended that you feel, when you're feeling guilty, just sit with it. Sit down and sit with it. And don't try to fix it. Just feel the feelings. And then she said, if you are feeling mom guilt and you still want to try to stick with it, ask yourself, does believing this story serve you? To stay in this mom guilt, does that serve you? And then she said, like, stop trying to erase your emotions. And don't waste your time trying to plan to avoid a negative emotion. So often we do that. We're like, how can I avoid feeling guilty? How can I avoid feeling shame? How can I avoid this or that? And so we do all these things trying to avoid it, but then we still have that feeling. We don't ever quite get over it if we're just trying to avoid it, ignore it, push it away, drink it away, eat it away, any of those things. And so when Meagan has mom guilt, she just sits with it, kind of basks in it. It's not easy to actually feel your emotions, but in the long run, it's much healthier. In the long run, it gets you in touch with your intuition, with what you're feeling. And how can that be wrong? How can that be wrong? Right? And actually, while I'm talking about that, getting in touch with your feelings and just sitting with it, she had also talked about how you can do that for your kids and how you can just sit with them when they're crying or when they're angry or when they're upset, as long as they're not doing something like harmful, like hitting or something. But you can just let them feel their feelings instead of trying to say, it's okay, let's go, let's move past it, you're fine, stop crying. Maybe you just sit with them and let them cry and let them feel sad instead of like trying to make yourself feel better. I thought that was so powerful, so good. So definitely go back and listen to Meagan's episode. Again, a quick recap. The 3 things that I thought were so badass about Meagan Norris was how she gives herself permission to change, how she makes strong decisions, and how she doesn't try to fix guilt. Okay, I absolutely loved Meagan's episode. She is a total badass, and my favorite thing is that she just had so many great actionable or tactical takeaways, things that you can implement in your life right now. And so you don't have to go through these hard times. You don't have to go through the stress, the anxiety, all of that stuff by yourself, or go through all the hardship that Meagan went through, because you can take what she said and apply it, right? And so it can prevent you from going through future hardship. Like, yeah, there's always going to be hard things. However, there's also ways that we can combat some of that stress, some of those hard things, and to care for ourselves in the best way possible. So if you loved Meagan's episode as much as I did, take a screenshot of the episode, that episode, or this episode, and throw it on Instagram. Hers is at Meagan Norris Coaching, and Meagan is Meagan. And tag me at Ordinary to Badass and let me know your takeaways. What did she say that impacted you or changed your way of thinking about something, or how have you applied it to your life? Feedback is so important, and it helps to know that you're making an impact on this world, right? Or that you shared your vulnerable moments to help somebody. And of course, today in the United States, it is Thanksgiving, and there's nothing like talking about what you're grateful for, thankful for. So let Meagan know what you're thankful for, what she taught you, what you learned from her episode. All right, I'll get off my high horse or my preacher mode. That's just one thing that I think is super important, is to let people know when they impact you. And actually, I'm realizing that in my everyday life too. Like that I need to tell people, good job, you're doing good, or give them feedback on what they're doing, or say I love you more, give a hug more, the things that sometimes we just take for granted. But anyway, I digress. All right. With that, we'll end our show. To all the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass, and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.